My name is Keith Melkor, and today I'll be discussing the Highline Park. Highline Park was designed in September 2004 after a design competition was held in order to reuse the old and abandoned Highline Railroad. Construction began in April 2006 with the first section of the railroad. The first and second sections of the park had been completed as of 2011. The architects for this project were James Corner Field Operations and Diller Scofidio and Renfro, with planting design contributions by Pierre Udolph. The park is currently located in New York City, New York. The significance of the railroad was the effort used in order to preserve a piece of the architectural history and its transformation from urban use to recreational and scenic landscape. According to Joshua David and Robert Hammond, co-founders or friends of the Highline, we wanted to save the Highline to make something extraordinary for New York City. It wouldn't be enough to build stairs and add a few planters and benches. The design for the Highline had to be as interesting and unusual for the structure itself. After a long period of inactivity, the aesthetic of the Highline began to transform from an industrial structure to a scenic landscape. Seasoned grass began to grow among the railroad tracks, and within a few years a blossoming landscape began to take shape. This type of transformation alludes to the lecture by Rachel Burney. The highly designed and precise landscapes can end up beautiful, functional, and ecologically fundamental. That is the concept that surrounds Highline Park. It was successful in breathing new life into the architecture. Once the Highline had received support from not only the community, but from also the city, construction began with the idea of preserving the structure and raising awareness. The sustainable elements that were incorporated into the design were how to use the surrounding foliage to create an environmental urban structure. New plantings build upon the existing landscape character, working with specific environmental urban conditions and microclimates associated with sun, shade, wet, dry, wind, noise, open, and sheltered spaces. If we look at the entirety of the park, we find that there's no one moment where it is secluded and separated. According to James Corner, the principal of field operations, it is less a pathway and more a combed or furrowed landscape surface. This intermixing of plants with pavement creates a rambling textural effect of immersion, strolling within and amongst rather than feeling distance from. The idea about Highline Park was to create a sense of unity and exploration while generating feelings of tranquility and serenity. It is a visual experience. We also go by the lecture given by Professor Kim Coleman. The architects were capable of exploring the given environment, allowing creation for new ideas. Highline Park is a perfect example of taking an existing urban space and effectively redesigning and reusing it in a new functional manner. Highline Park is an ideal example of sustainable elements being put to use and the collaborative effort between architects and community. Instead of having a historical landmark become demolished, it was preserved and dramatically transformed into a world-renowned landscape, creating a friendly and enjoyable green environment that can be enjoyed by all. It is a prime example of how old structures can be redesigned to be environmentally sustainable and radically change how we perceive architecture.